Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. We're going to start by removing this massive Allen key. I think it's like a 3/8 Allen key. Sometimes they get a little bit rusty in there, so you need to give it a little bit of a tap. Just because the rusts close it down the hole a little bit. Tap it in. You need a big breaker bar to get it off. Obviously everything's going to spin. So it's too sticky a screwdriver in the veins of the disc. Just gently twist it off. It's going to be tight, so you need to just you don't want to yank on it, you want to put a bit of even pressure on it just so it slowly gives away. It's only really the first couple of turns that holds it in on any tension. After a couple of turns you should be able to just spin it out by hand. What we're going to do is not spin it out all the way, spin it out a couple of threads and then give it a tap to push the drive shaft through. And obviously that will bottom out on the hub then, on the flange, so you want to twist out a little bit more and keep doing that until either the bolt falls out or the drive shaft's out the other end. Now with the bolt out and the drive shaft out, we're going to remove this disc retaining screw, whereas we still got the screwdriver in the disc, so it doesn't spin. Just twist that out of the way. Before we actually remove the disc, we're going to remove the brake wear sensor here. So we're going to stick a pick in the back just to flick the tab out, and then twist it towards the inside of the car. The reason I do this for is because if you drop the caliper or whatever, it rips this wire. I'm not talking from a personal experience at all. But once you've twisted that out, it's literally just pinch and pull down on the tab. And the wear sensor's out. You haven't got a risk of breaking that now. Now we're going to flick off the caliper retaining pin or clip. You'll probably get away with leaving this on, but I like to make sure it's off just in case, you know. There's no point struggling later. With that off and the caliper moving freely, let's go on to the back. We're going to remove the caliper and the carry-on ones, these 21mm bolts here. There's one on the top and one on the bottom that you can't see in this shot. We're just going to crack it loose with a spanner, not to damage the ratchet. And then we're going to move on to ratcheting it off. And we'll do the same with both, the top one and the bottom one. But before you pull it all the way out, you want to remove this brake hose off the hub on the back here, so you don't put any strain on that when you remove the caliper now. With that off, you've got this extra bit of movement, and just undo this last bolt all the way. And then we're going to remove the caliper and the carrier all in one. You're going to secure it up out the way on a bungee cord. So the bungee cord takes the weight rather than the hose or anything else. So obviously you don't want to damage anything here. Then remove the disc. The bearing is held in by these 4 bolts that you have to get from the back. You're going to have to move the steering knuckle back and forth to get into it at different angles. Just do whatever works for you here because of what tools you've got and how tight it is. But once that's all out, all the bolts are out, you're going to smack on the flange, and this is going to do 2 things. It's either going to break the whole bearing free or just the flange from the bearing, which makes it easier to break free later. So just give it a good tap. This one's obviously breaking the flange free. You see the bearing on the back there. With the flange off, all I've done is smack a chisel in between the gap between the bearing and the steering knuckle or the hub, and it's just peeled apart. What I would say here is that if you don't know how to press this bearing in, just take it to the shop. That's why I haven't shown you. Just take it to a garage or something that's got a press and they've got tools to do it. And whilst they're doing that, you can clean up the hub surface and square off any leftover dust, ready for the new bearing to go in. Now all that's left to do is to fit the new bearing. It's got the old flange on it, it doesn't come with a new flange. So you just got to line that up with the drive shaft and then line the holes up. And then do the same rotate, twist, pull to get the new back bolts in. Make sure you use the new back bolts because they're stretch bolts, so you should only use them once. Once that's lined up, you're going to feed a bolt in. Obviously you don't want to do it down all the way on one side yet, so you're going to do a finger tight and then work your way all the way around until they're tightened in evenly, so you can pull the bearing in square. With that finger tight, then you want to twist it again, come in from the bottom and twist it a little bit more to get into the top and move the drive shaft around and everything, so you can get those bolts in properly without damaging them. I'm going to use a shorter ratchet now just to pull the drive shaft into place so I know it's sat properly, rather than wasting time doing it later. And then I'm going to clean up the hub surface ready for the disc. Obviously I have a duty of care, so you want to make sure this is clean going back on, so you don't get any sort of wobble or anything from your steering wheel. With the brakes not sat square on this rusty surface, again as clean as possible. Ready for the disc. Then we're going to refit the discs and the carrier and the caliper back in one. Then prepare the disc face for the wheel, so that doesn't get seized on for the customer. Then put the wheel on and torque everything down. Obviously make sure you torque the bearing down before you get the wheel on. Make sure you do torque everything. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you didn't, let me know in the comment section, and feel free to like and subscribe. Bye.